Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Hi, I'm Angela, I like anime, so anyway, let's talk about it. So, Belle, or in Japanese, Yu Sobakasa no Hime, which literally means the dragon and the freckled princess, which will become pretty clear why when you see the poster or when you watch any part of the movie. But Belle is a very obvious take on Beauty and the Beast, but in a more 21st century, type of viewing experience with the incorporation of a virtual world, which is U, the Roman letter U. The movie is about 2 hours and 2 minutes long, which is quite a hefty movie. I think it's worth it because it doesn't even feel like 2 hours when I rewatched it. And in terms of a movie, I think usually if a movie is longer, then it's longer for a reason, unlike in TV when a show is longer, it might not necessarily be for any important reason. Belle aired on July 16th, 2021, so about last year, over a year ago, and it's done by Studio Chizu, and it's an original, there's no manga. And this studio has done things like Wolf Children, which I've seen, The Boy and the Beast, which I've read the first volume of because, fun story, I went to my local library and I was looking at the manga and the first volume was there and I didn't really know what it was about, but I was like, I'll pick it up and read it. It was alright. It wasn't amazing, but that's fine. And they've obviously done Belle and they've done Mirai, or I think the Japanese title. The director of Belle is Mamoru Hosoda, and he also did, not this studio, but he did, The Girl Who Lived Through Time, which I've also seen, which I've actually really enjoyed as a movie. And I'd like to point out that Studio Ghibli aren't the only people that make anime movies. There are so many anime movies that I've seen that aren't just Studio Ghibli based. And I think, Colorful was an amazing... I actually loved Colorful as a movie. It was an amazing anime movie, and it wasn't done by Studio Ghibli, and that was fine. And let me think of another... Oh, I really liked... I know it's a Netflix original, but I really, really loved Words Bubble Up Like Soda Pop, as you could tell, because I have an episode on it, and I think it's the perfect representation of a good summer, teen, innocent, wholesome. But the VA for Belle is Kaho Nakamura, and the VA for the Beast is Kakeru Sato. I think I put another letter on the end. I can't even read my own handwriting. But from here on out, it'll be spoilers. But I recommend that everybody goes to watch Belle if you haven't already. I mean, it's been a year and people have been raving about it. So I'd be surprised if you're an anime watcher and you haven't seen it. But to be fair, in my anime watching experience, I didn't watch it immediately when it came out. I watched it quite a while after because I know it sounds petty. It's quite childish, but I am still a child. Not a child. I'm still a teenager. But one of my friends really, really loved Belle, so I was I'm not gonna watch it until her hype dies down a bit, and then I'll watch it later because But I do understand why she was hyped about it. I think my friend really likes it because they really like music. So the orchestral beat type music in this is it's amazing. But that's another thing. So into Belle, let's get into the thick of it, as the Backyardigans would say. So we start with the narration voice being welcome to the world of you. It's the first line, and it's an external narrator, which kind of distances you, but also kind of intrigues you. Why isn't the main character, talking about this? It's some external force. And they don't really need to go into more detail about this, but they talk about how there's body sharing technology, which basically puts your biometric feelings and everything onto an avatar called AS. And the AS is automatically created based on your biometric features. And another quote is, "You is another reality, AS is another you," which already starts this kind of feeling of they say it in the next line. You can't start over in reality, but you can start over in you. Which starts this very ominous, foreboding type of element. Even though the visuals for this are amazing, it's spectacular, it's colourful, it's great. So, and I think the first song is playing, which is called "You," which is sung by Belle, which is a phenomenal song. It's honestly amazing. But yeah, you're already getting hyped, but then the sense of it's almost you don't need reality, which is kind of what they're trying to pitch to you. Or you need another version of yourself that's a bit better, or another reality that you can make your own, which is, I think, something they say later on, which I have at the end. I think they say at the beginning and they say at the end, but something about how you can change the world in you or something. which I think is quite interesting, and it also is like very reminiscent of how social media works in the same way. Like in a way, like a lot of our social media platforms are like another reality for people to like live on, and then they can create profiles of themselves, which can be another version of themselves, and they can start over more or less and get a following, or just like go really deep into a community even if they don't have a following, and just like live another life. But the problem with this is, as you live another life, like in terms of you and in terms of reality, as you live another life, you're neglecting your first life, like the one that like is limited. So I understand like the type of escapism, because I guess that's where the main character, you could argue why the main character goes into you in the first place, but it's probably not good to neglect it. So anyway, so we start with Belle singing You in the opening, and then there's the juxtaposition. So Belle is like this stunning goddess, prima donna type, like AS or Avatar. And then you see our main character, like after they've sung the song, you see our main character, Suzu, who's just an ordinary girl, but is singing as Belle. And it takes her ages to get to school, and she refuses like a ride from her dad. Like, she takes like multiple modes of transports just to get to school, and it's like, okay. But yeah, you can already see that she has some type of tension with her dad that isn't really explained yet. One thing I will probably talk about, like, I mean, I'll talk about it now, is they do explain everything, but kind of in an exposition dump, I think, from what I remember. Like, it's just a series of, like, flashbacks from, I think, from Suzu, about, like, her mom dying and stuff. But, I mean, it could also illustrate how she, like, relives the happiest moments with her mom, like, all the time, and also relives the darkest moments with her mom when her mom died all the time, like, in one, like, string. And it kind of makes it easier, but then there wasn't that much room for, like, here, and here. Like, not here, that makes no sense. There wasn't much room for, like, foreshadowing, I think. Unless you, like, talked about the mom, and then we talked about Shinobu, but then you do find out that early on that Shinobu's the one that, like, saved her from, like, following her mom into the river. But either way, I mean, that would probably be one of my only complaints, I think, out of the entire movie. But it also does make it an easier watch. Like, it's a little less, like, it's easier to understand. But, okay, so then we meet Shinobu, her childhood friend, who she sees it as a proposal, but he said when they were like 6 that he'd protect her. But currently he's like really cool and popular and plays basketball, and she just kind of watches him thinking, he proposed to me when we were little, and she tells her. And also I wrote that the way that Belle uses their songs throughout the movie is very interesting, because they put like some of the ending songs right at the beginning, but like without any lyrics, just like as instrumentals. And I didn't really realize that until I rewatched it, and I was like, oh, this is the like one of the final songs in the movie, and they're putting it here. I had no idea. But even as like instrumentals, these songs are still really good backing tracks, or just really good songs in general. And it's like amazing how they managed to incorporate them. And then her mom was the one who taught her to love music. Like, but this is also a good way that technology influences people, which I actually noticed in the movie, was that Suzu like learned how to play piano just like on the piano app on her mom's phone, which I think is it's really interesting in the way that social media, YouTube videos, apps, all these things help us like access like pretty much any hobby that we could ever want, like at the touch of our fingers. Because to be honest, for me, there's like a lot of my hobbies now. I didn't go to classes for. I didn't do any external things. I would just like watch YouTube videos on whatever I want to do. That's the reason why I can really I'm really good at cooking and baking, and it was just because in my like early teen years that was all I'd watch on YouTube, cooking and baking videos. I don't even know why. I just really enjoyed watching people cook and bake, and I'd try and like emulate it. And more recently, I've been into crochet a lot, so I've been watching lots of crochet videos, and I've made leg warmers, and I made a scarf and things like that. Those aren't very hard things to crochet, but even so, like, I think it's just really fun how you can reach any interest just because of like technology. We learned that her mom died from, sorry, that was a really weird transition, but we learned that her mom died by saving a little girl. And I also like how they didn't bring up like that girl that the mum saved. Like, they didn't make her like a character or an important character in this movie, because then they would have had to handle like, it would have been like this weird bit of them being like, of the main character being like, oh, well, you caused my mum to die, and then even that, I think, it's dumb. And even still, Suzu never blames the like little girl for needing help or trouble, and I feel like maybe that's something I've seen in like other shows in anime. It's just like they blame, because they love their parents so much, or their mum so much, they blame any like the other person for being the cause of like their parents' death. But either way, I like how they didn't bring her in as a character, like a main character. And I said the visuals are spectacular. Then I said Shinobu stops. Yeah, I already said all this. Oh, I should probably read ahead. I'll cut this out. Okay. Suzu, instead of being angry at the girl who needs to be saved by her mum, is angry at her mum, probably rightfully so. But not really angry, more she doesn't understand because she keeps asking, why did her mum decide to leave? And me personally, I mean, I'm not a mother. I don't know if I'd be the kind of person to go and save somebody, like risk or lose my own life to go save somebody. But I think Suzu's mum wasn't thinking about, she wasn't thinking this is a deliberate choice, I'm leaving my daughter. I think she was thinking either somebody else is going to lose their daughter, somebody else is going to miss that child, I need to save them, they're only a child, they have so much more to live, so much more to do. And how could I not save like a child like that when I know I'm able to? And I think this type of if I'm able to do something, why don't I attitude is very much carried into Suzu when later, because I think the dad says something towards the end, like, you're just like your mum. She wants to help called Kay and his little brother because she knows she can do something, so if she can do something she'll help, which is the type of personality that her mum had. So yeah. And even when she goes off to Tokyo to try and find them, the dad is all like, yeah, you're just like your mum, good luck, basically. So, I don't know if this bit serves a purpose, but she then goes to karaoke and people egg her on to sing, and then she, I think she gets overwhelmed and screams, and then she vomits while she's walking home along, a little bridge. And I wrote here, because I think this is important, I wrote, she's pretty and pathetic. After she tried, and then this is kind of the trigger to, force her to go into U. I think she realised how pathetic and a bit disgusting her life was, so what if she can, forget all about that, or if she can start again in U, then why not, as the narrator said at the beginning. But Belle enters U and sings Utayo, which is a song, and everyone tells her to shut up, but then some people are like, she's amazing, and her first fan is a Tenshin, or an angel or an angel spirit kind of thing. I think it's in Japanese, folklore. I don't know what it does in Japanese folklore, but I've seen it before. And after this encounter of everyone watching her sing Utayo, she's like, oh, I can finally sing, which I think is interesting because it took her having to put on an entirely different persona for her to be able to finally sing. She doesn't have the bravery or any type of thought that she could or can sing as herself. So that's where her mindset is at now. And in the middle of the day, she goes viral, and her friend thinks it's funny, but and Suzu doesn't believe that that's her when she creates Belle as an avatar. But Belle brings out the inner beauty in oneself. So there's more or less a part of Suzu that she doesn't realize that is absolutely beautiful, and I think that's her singing ability or her singing voice, which is shown through Belle in this case. So Belle is singing in U, in the crystal ball type thing, and Ryu appears fighting the justices, and they did this on purpose, which I think is quite funny, but also it's supposed to be ironic. And Ryu is Ryu the dragon, or the beast actually. It means dragon in Japanese, but it in the terms of the show, it means beast. Ryu breaks down the data thing and then defeats them all, breaks their data, and Ryu has bruises on his back and they're in pain. And Justin is the leader of the justices and is power hungry, which is a bit obvious. Oh, I have another bone to pick with Belle. This is my second thing. It's kind of like a continuation of exposition jumping. Later on, Justin, you can already tell at this point, is power hungry and doesn't care about anything, and he cares about fake justice, or all he cares about is being recognized and unveiling people. You see that, and you see that now, you see that the second you meet him, and then you see it later when he's trying to hunt down Ryu, and you see it later and later and later and later. But there's this weird bit where he I'll probably talk about it later, where he kidnaps Belle, and then Belle has this whole monologue, or Suzu has this whole monologue where she's you don't really care about we know, Suzu. I don't think it's I can't remember what I was watching, but one of the YouTubers I one of their quotes or something that they've said is like, I hate when they think that the audience is dumb. Like, you can tell that Justin was always like this. Like, I didn't need Suzu to like, or Belle to spell it out for me and be like, you don't care about justice. Duh! You've seen him enough times to realise that he doesn't care about justice. Anyway, when Ryu finishes fighting the justices, Belle says, "Kore wa dare?" which means, who are you? Then she like goes out of you and she's called to her dad, but who are you? So she doesn't even say like, why are you doing this, or please go away, or stop. She's like, who are you? Which I think gets to the root of the entire like thing about Ryu. Like, it's an interesting thing to ask, and I do wonder why she might have asked that. Because in what sense did she mean that? Like, who? Like, I know who are you sounds pretty simple, like a simple question, like your name. But in my head, it kind of feels like, what have you done? Like, why are you here? Like, can we talk? Like, it feels like a lot of questions loaded into one question for me, because as soon as you start talking about who you are as a person, it opens up a bunch of facets of you. Like, you don't, unless somebody just replies with their name, you don't learn that much about somebody. But then she leaves you, and then she's called to her dad, and Justin just wants to unveil the beast, which just basically means like, not hacking, but like breaking down the data in the system, which like takes off your AS or your avatar, and then just reveals the person underneath. But anyway, so Belle leaves you, and then she can't stop thinking about the beast, and she decides that she's going to go to his castle to see what he's like, and he's all like, yeah, get the heck out of here. And she like, which I appreciate. I don't know if she does it she stands her ground, so she follows the angel spirit up the stairs and reassures it that everything will be alright. I don't think it's now, but at some point later on, Ryu or the beast is screaming at Belle, and she stands her ground, and she responds to him calmly, which I think I'll talk about later. But then I wrote here, I love the group of middle old ladies. They're so supportive. You could say they're kind of like a second mom to Suzu, because she doesn't have a mom. She holds her ground, and when the beast yells at her, a classic, you wouldn't, when the beast yells at her, the classic, you wouldn't understand me. Sorry. Every time I read that, I have to, like, anything along those lines, I have to almost read it like dub Shinji. You wouldn't understand me, yada yada yada. She replies, well, explain it to me then. Simply and calmly, just explain it to me. You say I won't understand, so yeah, tell me. And then Ryu saved Belle from the justices when she was leaving the castle after she left, because that would have ruined her reputation if she was found out hanging with the beast. And also the justices were doing that whole, it's like a whole ACAB thing, but the justices were just like being up in her face, like harassing her for no reason. Like, she didn't do anything wrong, like she wasn't, and they just had to find a reason for her to be wrong so they can get information out of her. Oh yeah, I kind of forgot about the love song she writes for Ryu later on, when they have that little like dance, like this is where it's like Beauty and the Beast. Like, they have their little like dance scene in the Beast castle, and it's like, oh, it's so nice, it's so bloody good. But then this is where I made an epic, awesome discovery. I literally wrote in caps, wait, no, that song could easily be about Suzu, but from her friend Oshinobu's perspective. The Belle and the Beast are the same, but they don't realize it. I should probably pull up the lyrics of that song, but I think from the lyrics in the song, they, like, the way that Suzu talks about, I think it's like there are lyrics like, you say you're fine, but you're really not, stuff like that. It's the same way Suzu, like, reacts or, like, shows when she talks to her friend or her dad or Shinobu. Like, she keeps saying she's fine, but she's not, and, like, people just want to, like, see if she's okay, and they won't let her because she's too hurt, and the same way the Beast is too hurt. Although her hurt is emotionally, and the Beast's hurt when you find out who he is. It's emotionally and physically. Yeah, I said, no, I love this scene. It's a scene that got really, I remember seeing it on TikTok a lot when the movie came out. So Luca and Kamishin are at the ticket place. I actually really like the angling for that scene. I don't know why. It's just a really odd place to put a camera, but it, like, you can see almost everything in like a really weird way. I don't know. It's nice. I like the angling. It's quite particular. So we're at the ticket place, and after the awkwardness, basically Luca confesses to doesn't really confess to Kamishin. Kamishin finds out that Luca likes her. And then after the awkwardness, they weirdly just like bond over Belle, which I think is quite funny. It kind of reminds me like when you find somebody who like it's kind of like just when you like anime with someone. I don't know why I worded it like that. But you know, when like everything's really awkward and then you find out that somebody watches the same show as you or watches the same anime and you're like, wait, no, you love that show too? Who's your favourite character? Ah, me too! Like, so I love that. This is why I watch more anime, like, so I could talk more with people. I love talking with people about anime, hence the podcast. But Shinobu knows Suzu is Belle. Suzu does not confirm that, but Shinobu knows. I don't really know how, and that's fine, I don't really need to know how. Next, the Beast is in trouble. The Justices, yeah, this is another thing that they don't care about justice. Like, this is the second, it's not even the second thing, it's another big thing that they do to tell that you know that they don't care about bloody justice, but anyway. The Justices just set the Beast's castle on fire to drive him out, so they don't care about anything. Also, all the women in the, like, singing group also knew that Belle was Suzu. That's another thing. But I mean, also, there could have been more nuance with them, like, in terms of, like, villains. Because you kind of, like, you like your villains to have a bit of, like, to understand them. To be like, okay, I can see why you've done this, but it's still wrong. Or to be multifaceted villains, not just, I hate everyone. But yeah, so, moving along, they figure out who the Beast really is because of the best friend, like, actually no, it was because of Suzu, because Suzu sang the love song, and then, there was, like, a bit of foreshadowing where, like, they saw a live stream, and then, they saw the live stream again, but the boy in the live stream was singing the song that Belle wrote for the Beast, and that was the only song that, the Beast was the only person who could have known that song because Belle only showed that song to the Beast. And then they find out that, like, the two boys, I guess trigger warning for domestic abuse and child abuse, the two boys are getting abused by their father, like, emotionally, mostly physically, but also emotionally, because of the things that he, like, screams at them, because he says stuff like, actually no, I don't need to repeat it, I don't want to repeat words of abuse, actually. Belle is all, no, not Belle, because Suzu at this point. Suzu was all like, I want to help you, where are you, please tell me where you are, and then, Kay, or the Beast, but his name's Kay, he's a 14-year-old boy, is all like, people say they want to help me, but they say that my father will change, but over and over and over again, nobody's, wanted to help me. And then he says that people just say they're going to help, or like, Taskeru. I remember that so vividly, because the amount of times he repeats Taskeru, it's mad. Anyway, but he's like, through that repetition of Taskeru or help, he's showing the audience that, to him, help means nothing, because the help that people have offered is pointless, it hasn't done anything, it hasn't helped anyone. Then, Shinobu, who is based, I wrote, base Shinobu says that you can't get through to him as Belle, and Shinobu believes that she can as herself, so she should sing to him, or Suzu should sing to him as Suzu, not as Belle, which leads into the big point at the beginning where you can become another person, you can live in another reality, but at the end of the day, I think you shouldn't neglect your own self, or like think that your online persona of yourself is way better than your actual version of yourself. Because I think Belle is, as much as it's about like it's not really about saving the Beast for a good chunk. How many years? It's also about Suzu discovering herself and having a bit more confidence in herself to sing the way that she wants to sing. But then, this is when Suzu gets Justin to unveil herself, and, she unveils herself with Justin's, like, unveil ring. And then she sings A Million Miles Away, which is the song that she sings as Suzu, and the crowd sing with her, and, it's really emotional. Everybody realizes that she's just an average schoolgirl, and Peggy Sue, who was jealous of Suzu this entire time, also said that she's just a regular schoolgirl, just like me, which comes to show that, like, the people that you hate or think are like this, like, they're just people at the end of the day. Like, most people people on the internet at the end of the day are just people. Whether they have an insane power trip or feeling like they can say whatever they want, whether they share their lives and, like, show that they have a bunch of money, at the end of the day, they're just people. Shinobu says that after the song was sang, Shinobu's like, Suzu, your feelings reach them. And then I wrote, Suzu's like her mom in the way that she tries to save people when she has the ability to, which is what I was talking about earlier. So, then the Kay, like, doesn't fully trust Suzu at that point, but he's like, fine, I'll tell you where I am. But then the live stream gets cut because the dad finds out that it was getting live streamed, and then now it's time to use context clues, and the search for where they live is on, which uses the power of everybody in a way to first find out where they are and then get Suzu to where they live, because the old ladies and stuff drive them there, and her dad gives her support to go and do that. Yeah, and she finally communicates with her dad on the way to Tokyo, and then she also communicates with her dad when she gets back, and she'll finally eat the dinner that he makes. But now, this is up to interpretation, because I, like I do, forget to do a lot of things. Forgot to check what year Suzu is in, but from my assumption, I'm going to assume that she's a high schooler, which means she's either 15, 16, 17, or 18. But Kay, when they meet in the end, actually, yeah, she also, I'm skipping around, but so when they meet, Suzu, it's raining. Suzu protects Kay and the little brother from the dad, who's trying to claw at her and pull her away, and he ends up ripping a bit of her skin off, and she has a cut and stuff like that. She stands her ground, and then the dad kind of realizes what a scumbag, worthless kind of guy he is. He's just basically not beating up, but hurting this so for no reason besides from the fact that he's on a power trip and he wants to assert his dominance amongst his sons. So then he breaks down, just cries and stops, and then Kay hugs Suzu and says I love you, or he says daisuki or whatever, and she just says thanks, which I love, because it's not she wasn't doing all of this because she fell in love. Actually, it's up to interpretation, but I don't think she was doing any of this because she actually fell in love with the beast. I mean, she may have when she didn't know who he was, but since he's only a 14-year-old kid, now that she knows, she definitely isn't in love with him. It's not wrong or anything, they're both children or kids, but either way, Shinobu later on says now now we can finally be normal friends or something, which is good because Shinobu feels free, which is good because he spent all this time looking after her, maybe because he felt obligated to because her mum was gone, but now her and Shinobu can start their own relationship if they want, or just become better friends if they want, because she's kind of been distancing herself from Shinobu this entire after her mum died. But then the narrator at the end, and also they have a big group hug, Kei, Suzu, and the younger brother. And Suzu goes home. She says that she'll eat her dad's dinner. That's when Shinobu's yeah, I'm finally free. Then everyone's walking along it's not a river. I forgot what it's called, but well, it's kind of like a river. There's little river things in Japan. They're walking along there. The sun is shining, and it's kind of just a good ending. And then the narrator chimes in and is you can change the world. Not you can change the world, the narrator from the beginning who talks about it's another reality, it's another version of yourself, it's another reality, chimes in and is all you can change the world. I think that's one of the last words. So yeah, now overall thoughts and stuff. I just really and enjoyed all the music in it. So I checked, and the three composers for Belle are Ludwig Forssell, Yuta Bando, and Taisei Iwasaki. And I also checked Suzu is 17, and I don't think that should be a ship then, because a 17-year-old and a 14-year-old are very different in emotional intelligence. And the song was called Lend Me Your Voice, or Kokoro no Sobani, I think in Japanese. It was more about you saying you want to be left alone and lend me your voice, and all that. But at the end, it's it's one of those movies, and I always say these in my podcast, it was one of those movies that made me feel really tingly, all over. It was enjoyable. The visual was good. If I'd seen it in the movie, I probably would have, not in the movie. If I'd seen it in the cinema, I probably would have cried. On that note, I would suggest you'd watched it, even though I just spoiled all of it. It was really good. Now, on that note, let's talk about myself. Let's do some updates. I am literally, okay, sorry about that yelling. I'm screaming. I saw the Free movie in cinema, and I don't even go to the cinema that much anymore. The last 2-3 movies I've seen in the cinema have all been anime movies. I saw the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero movie. It was phenomenal. When Nanami showed up, I was sat down, but my knees were weak. I love Nanami, and not even a romantic way. I just really like Nanami. He's really cool. But yeah. And then I saw the free movie, and there were two movies, so I've never like watched a movie like that. I've never watched the first movie, then there be an interval, and then like 10 minutes, and then they'd play the second movie. It was like so fun, and I loved it. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did. And then what else? I've watched a lot of anime. It's September currently. Yeah, I've watched a lot of things, I think. It's been so, not a lot. I also watched I think I watched K-drama and I watched something else. I watched The Queen's Gambit. It was really good. I really liked it. I don't watch that much just like normal American or British like drama TV, but that was worth it. Oh, it was good. But yeah, I really enjoyed making this episode. I wonder what I'll do next. I didn't want to do this. No, I won't say that. I wonder what I'll do next. I think it's easier for me, especially because school started again, since it's September. I think it's easier for me to do movies because there's only a short amount of time. Not a short amount of time, it's only like a set amount of time compared to series, unless it's like a series that I'm really passionate about, that I really want to talk about. But then if that's the case, I won't be going like through the events like I can do with movies and talk about what I think about them and why I think they happened and things like that. But in general, thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed this month's episode. See you next time. Bye.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.